everyone, and welcome back to my channel where we go on point of view hiking videos. You see what I see, and as we go along, I tell you a story. It could be an entertaining story, it could be a life lesson, it could be a scary story. It could be a story that's about a story that's within another story that happened about a story over many years ago in another story that someone told in a story. You just never know. And what I do is I post a video every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. But on Wednesday, I don't talk. I don't tell a story. No. You get to experience the sights and sounds of wherever I'm hiking. For example, on our last hike, you got to experience the desperate cries of the ghosts and spirits that surround me every day. And you got to hear them. So, you have that to look forward to. Okay, now that you're done crapping yourself, we are actually what I do. It's the sounds of nature. You'll hear birds and screaming and, madmen in the wood chasing people with butcher knives, and they call themselves Jason. So anyways, today we do have a great story coming up. It is a beautiful story. It is the Christmas holiday season. And this story is about a lost Christmas tree. I know. How could there be a story about a lost Christmas tree? Well, it's actually a beautiful story. I think you're going to enjoy it. But before we get there, I get some people who comment, and I love the comments. They say they love the videos, they love the stories, they can't wait for the next one, but they don't subscribe, and they don't hit that like button. So hit that subscribe button. Make sure you do it. YouTube, they're going to react by not showing my video to anybody. So I'm going to make these videos and there's going to be like maybe 1 or 2 views or 0 and they're going to go nowhere. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. Also, be sure to give that good old like button a good push. Push it. I know everybody keeps saying smash it, but no. Push the like button. Just a nice little push. Push it. I absolutely love this time of year. I always have. Of course, when you're a kid, it is about the presents. You can't wait for the presents. But even as a kid, I enjoyed everything around it. I loved the Christmas lights. I loved the music. I loved the spirit that was in the air and the smells of pine and Auntie Fanny's smoky covered perfume. But I just love this time of year, and I kind of moved on from the gift part of Christmas and started to really enjoy leading up to that day. And truly, the best part of it, that spirit of Christmas, that feeling that's in the air. In the past, and maybe not as much now as it used to be, I feel like I'm an old man when I'm talking here, but people they were nicer during this time of the year, They would say hi and please and thank you and, get into a nice conversation with you, give you a smile. They weren't as jerky as they are now. So that leads me to a story. It's about a family. A family who was struggling, and we can all relate to that. They were having a bad year like so many of us are having right now. And funds were tight. The parents, both of them grew up with a difficult childhood, and they vowed that when they married each other, they would make sure that their children didn't get to experience what they did. They wanted their children to have more and to have a better life. But now here they are, both of them broke. They don't even know how they are going to afford a Christmas tree. And it's killing them inside. The last thing they want to do is give their kids a Christmas just like the one they had as kids. It was horrible. So they had to rack their brains. What are we going to do? So they saved for it. They sacrificed a little bit here, sacrificed a little bit over there. Maybe the meals weren't as big. They just knew that even if they couldn't give their kids any presents that year, at least they could get them a Christmas tree. At least have that. So it's getting close now to Christmas, and normally their tree would be up. the kids are a little confused why the house isn't decorated. It just doesn't feel like Christmas. And the parents, of course, are trying to get the message across that, Christmas is not about the presents. It's not even about the tree or the lights. And the kids get it. They were raised to believe that. They know. But they still want the Christmas tree. They still want the lights. And they understand that maybe they're not going to get a lot of presents this year. Things are tight. But they want that Christmas tree. Well, Mom and Dad finally had the money. And they were really excited. They couldn't wait to tell their kids where they were going that night. But they kept it a surprise. They had dinner. Didn't even mention it. Dinner was like any other dinner. They talked about the day. The kids talked about school and their homework and what little Susie said to Bobby and the little love note she gave him. And unfortunately, another kid in class saw the note and grabbed it and read it out loud, and both of them were so embarrassed. And then the parents talked about their work day, and it just didn't go well with all the job cuts that the father had faced. Now, it's very possible he may lose his job. So, it wasn't really the best of conversations at dinner, but it was the way it was. When dinner ended, that's when the parents decided to spring on the surprise. They were going to put a smile on those kids' face. And they turned over and said, "Hey kids, go get dressed, we're going out." The kids kind of protested. I mean, they just had dinner, they wanted to stay home and watch some movies or something, and parents said, No, kids, go upstairs and get dressed. We have a big surprise for you." That's all it took. Just saying, "big surprise for you," those kids booked it. They ran to their rooms, and the little boy and the little girl got into their coats and everything, and their gloves and their hat, and came running down. And the father made a joke about how, why can't you dress this fast in the morning when you got to go to school? So, anyways, they head out to the car. Mom and Dad are pretty excited. They still haven't told the kids yet. So they all hop in the car, they put on some Christmas music, and they start driving. As they're driving, a little bit of snow started coming down. It was perfect, actually. And the sun had just started to set. So it was this beautiful pinkish sky with shades of purple into blue, while that white snow was coming down. It looked fantastic. And as they're driving across that street, and the sky is reflecting into the pavement, the excitement was in the air. The Christmas spirit was in the air. They drove through the rolling hills and through the countryside. The kids had no clue as to where they were going until they turned the corner. And there it was, the Christmas tree lot. And the two kids looked at each other, and their mouths opened up wide. And they turned to their mom and dad and said, "Are we getting a Christmas tree? Are we? And that's when the dad said, "Oh, I don't know." And the mother interrupted him. She didn't even want to waste any more time. She goes, yes, we are. We are getting a Christmas tree." And the kids were so excited. We're finally going to have Christmas. We're going to have Christmas this year. So they pull into the Christmas tree lot. They all get out. And now they're going to go through what is always a nightmare, is trying to find the right tree. And it never goes well. None of them ever agree. So the father goes off and he finds this giant, big, full, tall tree. And the mother looks over to him and she goes, "Why do you want that? That won't even fit in the house." And he goes, "Of course it'll fit in the house. Look at it. It's just full. It's beautiful." And she's like, "That thing will take up the entire living room. We won't even be able to look at it." And she goes, No. This is the tree we're getting." And she's holding up this tree that's about like 4.5 feet tall. And he's like, "What is that? That's like if this tree took a poop, and that's its poop." And she's like, "Stop it. No, this tree is perfect. Look at it. I can easily get the star on top and put the ornaments on it." He goes, "I could fit that in my shoe. No, we're not getting that." Meanwhile, the kids are arguing. The little boy, he found the most perfect tree, and it did look perfect. It was just perfectly shaped and full. But there was a problem, because on the other side of the tree, it was naked. Like, it didn't have its pine needles. There was a big hole in there. And the parents look at each other like, why do you want that tree? Why do you want that tree? Look at it. And he's like, I know, but one side is perfect. We can hide the other side. Put it up against a wall. And they're like, no, we're not getting that tree. That thing it's practically dead. And then the little girl goes, well, what about my tree? And her tree was like this skinny little, it was like from Charlie Brown. And the mother just looked at her. She couldn't even speak. She's like, just looks at her, and the little girl goes, what? It's cute. I want a cute tree. They all just kind of rolled their eyes, and then they just started arguing. And they're all trying to make a case for their tree. Now, the tree lot attendant, of course, well, he's used to this, because pretty much every family that walks into that lot gets into an argument about the trees. But he's been doing it a long time, and he knows the perfect tree. He always knows where the perfect trees are. And this family, he can tell this was a big deal. So he says, excuse me, folks. You kind of missed one over there. And they all stop their arguing, and they look at him, and then they look to where he's pointing. And it was as if magic had happened. There, kind of standing off by itself, is the most perfect Christmas tree. It is just the right height. It is just the right width. It's got plenty of needles on it. It looks fresh and alive and beautiful. So the whole family knew right away this was the tree. So they paid the tree lot attendant, and he had his assistant, a kid from high school, strap the tree on top of the car, and away they were. So they're driving back home. The kids are all happy now. They can't wait to decorate the tree, and the father's happy, and they got the Christmas music blaring. But something weird starts happening. People are pointing at them, and they don't understand why. Why is this car driving up to them and pointing at them, and the father's just kind of ignoring them? He thinks they're just some kind of freak or something, you know? And they keep hitting their horn and yelling at them and pointing. And once again, the father's just like, what is with these people? What are they doing? And the mother's like, well, maybe you should open the window and find out. And he's like, I don't know. I mean, what if they're nuts? And she's like, let's just find out. So he reluctantly rolls down the window. And that's when the car says, hey, you lost your Christmas tree. And the father's like, what? What do you mean? It's strapped to the roof. They go, not anymore, it isn't. A big gust of wind came along and ripped it right off your roof. So they were just like, oh no, you know? And the kids were devastated. Dad, we gotta go back. We gotta go back look for it. So the father agreed. The big problem, though, is they're now on the interstate highway, and it's going to be hard to find this tree. So they get off the exit, get back on the highway, get off another exit, get right back on to where they near the area where the tree lot was, and now they look for it, and they can't find it. So they put on their emergency lights, they're driving slow in the emergency lane, and they're looking over to the side of the road. Maybe it fell off somewhere, and it's somewhere, you know, down in the embankment. And they just can't find it. That's when the police show up. So the police car puts its lights on. He can see that the car is driving really slow. So he pulls them over and asks if everything's okay. And that's when the father said, no, actually, officer, we had this Christmas tree. It was strapped to the roof, and now it's gone. And the officer says, oh, I'm sorry to hear that. And that's when the father said, yeah, I mean, it's awful. I feel so bad for the kids, you know. We're having a really rough year this year, and I may get laid off. But the one thing we wanted to do was at least have a Christmas tree. We can't even really afford to get them gifts. But at least we'd have the Christmas tree, and that's the one thing the kids wanted. And we saved up for it, and now it's just gone. And there's nothing we can do about it. And the officer's like, well, I am really sorry to hear that. He's like, well, what about going back to the tree lot where you got it from? And they said, they close at 9. Officer looks at his watch and goes, oh yeah, it's 8:58 right now. You're not going to make it. And the father says, I know, but you know what? We'll just use a little bit of the money I have saved, and, I'll go back. Maybe the attendant has another one. Maybe he'll open for us or something. I don't know. So the officer took down his information and said, hey, let me have your information, and if by any chance we find it, we'll give you a call. So the father agreed. So they all get back in the car. The kids are crying in the back seat. The father really doesn't want to have to go spend this money. It was emergency money. Also, it makes him feel like a failure. Even though he's not. He's just a victim of circumstances. But he doesn't see himself as a victim at all. Because it's life. We have good days and bad days. It just happens. And this just happens to be a bad day. Or a bad year. So they hop back into the car and make their way back to the Christmas tree lot. Of course, as they arrive, the Christmas lights that light the whole lot up are now off. They pull in and notice that the Christmas tree lot attendant is still there. He's actually about to get into his car. So the father runs out of his car and says, wait, excuse me, sir, excuse me. I am so sorry to do this. Really sorry. I know you're closing up. You probably had a long day and you want to go home, but, well, we lost the Christmas tree. And he goes, you did? Well, how'd you lose the Christmas tree? And they said, it fell off the roof of the car. Can we buy another one, please? We'll take the one my daughter showed you, that little one. And I'll pay extra. I'll pay double just for you helping us. So the attendant stood there for a while. He put his hand on his chin. And he goes, all right, you'll pay double? And they're like, yeah, we'll pay double. He's like, all right, yeah, no problem. So he grabs the little skinny tree and hands it to them, and the father hands him the money. The attendant takes the money, and then he says, you know what? That's not the right tree for you. So he takes the tree back, and he comes back with this other tree, this beautiful tree. And he goes, this was the tree I was going to take for my home, but I want you folks to have it. And the father goes, oh, no, we don't want to do that. No, we could take the little tiny tree. That's fine. He goes, no. I think you folks are going to enjoy this tree more than I will. You go ahead and take it. The father's like, oh, okay. And then the attendant hands him back the money. He goes, no, wait, sir. I mean, we'll still pay for it. And he goes, no. This is a gift from me to you. You look like good folks. You're having a rough time, I can tell. Take the tree and have the best possible Christmas you could have. The father was dumbfounded. So the attendant handed him back the money. The father went off and strapped the tree to the car himself, and he made sure that tree wasn't going anywhere. The attendant drove past them and yelled out his window, "Merry Christmas, folks!" And off he went. So the family got back into the car and headed home. They were blasting that Christmas music, and they all had smiles on their face. This situation that had turned bad had changed and became something good, and it put them all in such a great mood. They truly had the Christmas spirit. So they arrived home and unstrapped that tree. The father cut the bottom and put it into the pot, filled it with water, and soon they were decorating it. Next thing you know, there's a knock at the door. So the father goes off and answers the door, and it's a police officer, and he's holding a Christmas tree. And the father says, "Officer, you found our tree?" And the officer said, "Well, not really. Sorry to say that tree has lived its last day. Unfortunately, another car actually ran it over, and it's gone. It is gone." But when I got back to the station, I just couldn't stop thinking about you and your family and the difficulties you're going through, and to lose your Christmas tree like that. I felt so bad for you. So I talked to my fellow officers and told them your story, and we all decided to pitch in and go find a tree for you. So we got this tree. And, well, we want you to have it. And the father, he was speechless. Tears started rolling down his cheek. And he just looked to the officer and he's like, that is the most amazing thing. I don't even know what to say. Thank you. Thank you so much. Officer, I should say that right after we left you, we did go to the tree lot and he actually gave us a tree. He gave us his tree. So we do have one. But I would really appreciate it if you could donate that tree to a shelter or a family in need, someone who doesn't have one. The police officer agreed. He too felt good, knowing that there was so much goodness in the air this night. So he left with a smile on his face and couldn't wait to go find a family in need to surprise them with that tree. When the father shut the door and went back to his family, he was completely and utterly speechless. They were having such a rough time. And really, what he didn't want to tell his wife or his kids was that he had lost all hope. He was pretty fed up. You know, the company was more about themselves than the employees. That's why things were so bad. They just kept shrinking their income. They dropped bonuses. They stopped giving them raises. You know, meanwhile, their hours are longer. And then they start laying people off. And they just simply didn't seem to care. So every day, the father was going to work feeling miserable. And he wants to provide for his family, but jobs are hard to come by these days. And then this happens. It took them months to save up just to buy a Christmas tree, and then they lose it. But that's when he learned how good people are, and how much goodness there really is. Because all these people stepped up. The tree lot attendant, the entire police department, all these people stepped up to help them. So after that day, the father vowed that instead of feeling sorry for himself, he would give back too. That he would try to help others the way they were helped that day. So from that day forward, and especially on Christmas, they would volunteer at the soup kitchen. They would always buy 2 Christmas trees and always give the second one away to a needy family, even if they were having a bad year. But for them, that will always be the best Christmas they ever had.
And now, a shameless plug.
A shameless plug? Yep, that's right. It's time for another shameless plug. What is a shameless plug? Well, it's quite simple. I plug something shamelessly. And today I'm plugging a wire into an outlet. Wow. No, I'm actually not doing that. I am plugging something that I have created, something that I do, something that I'm promoting, because I have no shame. And I'm using my video shamelessly to promote something. And today I'm promoting my Fiverr gig, which is a custom video from Drunk Santa. Hey, Drunk Santa, take it away.
Oh, the ho ho ho! Well, hello there, friends. You can call me Drunk Santa. Just don't call me. Well, just don't call me, you sons of... So listen, while Mrs. Claus is away, I'm doing videos for you. Like video messages to your friends and family, promotional vids for your business, and even holiday party invites. Woo-hoo! I better get invited. I got the booze. I also got a ton of gig extras like video text, your logo, music background, and even a green screen if you needed it. So what are you waiting for, you idiot? Order today, exclusively here at Fiverr.com. Now I need to go blow some chunks. Oh God, here we go. Hey, I don't remember eating that.